Hello again, friends. This is Dr. Jonathan Ellerby. I suppose I don't often mention that I am the author of Return to the Sacred and Inspiration Deficit Disorder, among other books, but I would say those two could go a long way for you during this time of quarantine, and perhaps the book The Promise of Paradise maybe as well. Anyway, check out what I'm doing online. Lots of good stuff coming up. Also remember that I am live with the Althea Center Denver on Sundays and Thursdays. Sunday, 10:30 a.m. we have an hour-long gathering. We have more than 130 people join. Help us to increase those numbers. Let's stay connected. Let's pray and meditate and explore ideas and insights and feelings together as we go through this very strange time in the world. Thursdays, Althea Center Denver Facebook page live. I am on at 11 a.m. and this is Mountain Time, USA. So our 12 at 12 is kind of a quick dive into spiritual and mindful perspectives on how to not only live a more connected and fulfilling life, but more specifically, how do we find the divine qualities of this extraordinary moment we're in history, this quarantine that many of you are experiencing, social distancing, and for many people, tremendous stress and trauma as not only routines are being taken away, but in many cases livelihood, and sadly in some cases life. So we are gathering daily to come back to the center, to remember what's most important, and to drink a little bit from the well of inspiration, and hopefully I can honor that well wisely and with some love and compassion. On that note, why don't we just get right into it? I'm going to encourage you to take a moment, slow down. Even if your life is rather slow and boring as it is, we can go slower, because when I talk about slowing down, I'm really talking about slowing down internally. And it's amazing how many people have messaged me about how their day has nothing going on outside. Same place, same routines, nothing, but inside, a whirlwind of thoughts and feelings. So let's take a breath, let's close our eyes, and let's let that all settle down. So big refreshing breath in, big releasing breath out. If it helps you to connect with your heart and your body, you can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And when you exhale, I'm going to encourage you to breathe out as long as you can till your stomach muscles contract, and then a refreshing natural breath in. Feel yourself slowing down, settling down, and finding silence and spaciousness in yourself. There is a silent place within each of us that is the luminous ground of being from which all emotion, all thought, and all activity emerges. But too often, even when invited, we miss it. Too busy thinking about, too busy reacting to, instead of simply being aware and allowing. As you allow the silence to fill your mind, your heart, your space, we rest in this still point and sense its presence in all things. We sense and affirm in this moment our connection to all things. today we hold this feeling of connection, of relationship, of family with all things. We turn our attention to the natural world, the natural powers, and let yourself sit and rest and receive. As I read this beautiful poem, an adapted Mohawk prayer, transformed into poetry for us by Gary Snyder. It's called Prayer for the Great Family. Gratitude to Mother Earth, sailing through night and day, and to her soil, rich, rare, and sweet. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to plants, the sun facing a light-changing leaf, and fine root hairs standing still through wind and rain. Their dance is in the flowing spiral grain. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to air, bearing the soaring swift and the silent owl at dawn, breath of our song, clear spirit breeze. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to wild beings, our brothers, sisters, teaching secrets, freedoms, and ways, who share with us their milk, self-complete, brave, and aware. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to water, clouds, lakes, rivers, glaciers, holding or releasing, streaming through all our bodies, salty seas. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to the sun, blinding, pulsing light through trunks of trees, through mists, warming caves where bears and snakes sleep. He who wakes us. In our minds, so be it. Gratitude to the great sky, who holds billions of stars and goes yet beyond that, beyond all powers and thoughts, and yet is within us. Grandfather space, the mind is his wife, so be it. So I wanted to read that today because many environmental organizations are celebrating something they call the Earth Hour. And I believe it was actually started by the World Wildlife Fund. And you can find it very easily online. If you found me here, then you can look it up, no problem. And if you look up Earth Hour, typically the way it works is they ask you to take 1 hour of this day along with everyone else in your local region, to go without electricity. And so it's a way to experience what is the impact of unplugging. Now, the thing that strikes me in particular this year, and it's usually, I think it's 8 or 8:30. I know I posted it on Instagram, and I can certainly post it after this video. Usually, again, it's just whatever your local time is. So let's say they ask you to do it 8 o'clock. It would be 8 to 9 wherever you are. Although for some reason I think it's 8:30. Anyway, World Wildlife Fund will have that posting for you. But the reason why it struck me as being incredibly important and powerful that we honor this hour is that the hour isn't just about saving electricity. It isn't about just lightening our impact on the planet, which apparently millions of people are doing in some ways right now. Less cars, less commerce, less factories, less pollution overall. In fact, some of you have seen online some of the environmental organizations tracking and monitoring air pollution and air quality around the world and the radical changes that we've seen. But more than that, this day really gets me thinking about how, even though many of us are focused on our income, I feel the same concern for the future, even though most of us are concerned for health. And I have just incredible compassion and sorrow and prayers for the families that have been so devastated by the suffering of this virus. But more so, this has become an important time to contemplate our relationship to the planet. Not only have we recognized that we have a remarkable, indelible imprint through pollution and consumption every single day, but I'd say just as significant, we are discovering how incredibly medicinal, therapeutic, and essential being in nature is to our health. In places where people are quarantined but still allowed to go outside if they're keeping distance or in wilderness spaces, we see posts from all over the world how that time is so precious, so powerful, not just to be free of their apartment or their home, but to breathe fresh air, to feel the vibrant energy of trees, to see the spring grass pushing up between the cracks in the sidewalk, to be reminded that life continues, that no matter what is taken from us, life continues, and life, like nature, will grow wherever it can. We are seeing where we live in Boulder, and it's not a hoax, we have photographs of mountain lions coming down into the town, coyotes moving into territory where they haven't before. These predators, typically extremely fearful of people and typically rarely seen, are coming closer because they sense us growing quiet. And what does that say about our ordinary life? And how can we make this time of quiet and quarantine, more intentional? You see, it's one thing to be told to go to your room. It's one thing to be told to stop working. It's another thing to be intentional. Don't see this as things being taken from you. Take this moment to give these things up. You can hold them in your heart and mind all day, even though they've been taken from you, and in that way, you never leave them. But you have the chance to participate in a different experience of life, and whatever is not in front of you anymore, or for now, don't just ruminate on why it was taken, how it was taken, when it will be given back. Instead, be free of it. Let it go. Be intentional. And you'll notice that intention changes thought, changes mood, changes emotion, and brings a different energy than resistance or reaction. Intentionality draws us down into the soul system of the self, closer to the spirit, closer to awareness and allowing. More so, we can use this power of intention for anything we're doing right now. So not to just eat, but eat mindfully. Not to just snack, but pray with your snacks. Offer them intentionally to whatever it is you draw life from. God, Spirit, angels, ancestors. Make your life purposeful through intention, and it will change your experience of every day. When you wake up, invite Spirit to be with you through the day. Make your day a quest, a walkabout in your own home, a monastic journey. Be intentional with your words, your time, what you put into your body and what you put into your mind. Be intentional. And tonight, I invite you to be intentional with the Earth Hour. So we're coming to the end of our time, but I want to close with a little practice, a ritual that I'd like to recommend for people. Find out when your Earth Hour is, and then shut off everything you possibly can. Safely, of course. And take that hour, even if it's in darkness, to really intentionally feel what stillness is like, what silence is like, what a lack of energy and distraction is like. 1 hour, you can light a candle. If you're with people in a family or roommates or people you're sharing the quarantine with, I invite you to sit in a circle. If you have a candle for everyone, let everyone have a candle, or as many candles as you have. At the center of the circle, place a bowl of water. And then start with a few minutes of silence and breathing. And then open your eyes and take the bowl and talk a little bit about your feelings and relationship to nature, and how you might want to live with more intention, how this time and this experience is impacting your thoughts and feelings about nature. And then pass the bowl. Oops. Oh, we almost got disconnected there. Once you've passed the bowl around and everyone's gone, I'm going to invite you then to take some time in silence, or singing, or sharing stories about camping or times in nature, but you want to create a body to this ceremony where you are sharing in something collectively. And then when you feel it's time to conclude, pass the bowl around. You're just holding this bowl of water, and talk about gratitude. Gratitude for nature. Even if you've already addressed that, address it again. What are your words and feelings of thanks? And then when you come to the end, put it back into the center. Take another moment to be still, and that would be your Earth Hour ceremony. So consider this today. We're already out of time, and of course I'm always happy to have your questions forwarded, and I would like to share a Rumi poem in closing. It was one of my first favorite Rumi poems because it's very much about how nature brings us closer to spirit. It sounds like a romantic poem, but hear this lover, beloved poem as being about your relationship to nature and the way nature invites us into a different and deeper experience of self and life. When it's cold and raining, you are more beautiful, and the snow brings me even closer to your lips. The inner secret, that which was never born, you are that freshness, and I am with you now. I can't explain the goings or the comings. You, Spirit, enter suddenly, and I am nowhere again, inside the majesty. So thank you for joining me for another 12 at 12. I'll see you tomorrow, live, 12 o'clock Mountain Time for about 12 minutes. And I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you take an hour tonight to honor the Earth Hour and some intentional honoring of your connection to nature and spirit. With that, signing off.